Good morning. It is about 5 a.m. We are now at Chagee Terminal 1, about to get our boarding tickets. Normally we like to check in online 24 hours ahead or however early we can, but this time around they need to do a document check. I'm not sure what documents they need to check, but we are flying to China for the first time. Technically, it's considered mainland, but we're going to Hainan, which is one of the islands. There wasn't a lot of information on what we needed because as US citizens, we can actually fly to Hainan visa-free for 30 days. So we're gonna check what documents we have and hopefully we get our boarding passes. Let's find out.
As always, coming to the airport in Singapore is the easiest and smoothest process ever.
So we printed our boarding passes through the little kiosk and it said to go to the document check. So the physical thing printed out, we went to the document check, and what did they ask us?
She just asked us how long we're staying for and if we have a return flight. Easy.
And that's pretty much all there is to it because since Hainan is a visa-free zone for US citizens, I don't believe you need to do anything in advance. So it was, yeah, they just need to make sure that we actually have a flight that returns, I guess.
Ten minutes after getting out of our Grab, we're already at the lounge.
Neither of us are actually hungry, but I think it'll be good for us to get some food because we won't land. We land at like 10:45 a.m. That's like breakfast time for us anyway. Just to mention, I did a ton of research in terms of flying to China because I know that there's a lot of restrictions. US citizens normally get a visa, and I think the only option is like a 10-year visa. The process takes a while, but the reason we wanted to do Hainan is because they announced, I think it was sometime last year, that there's some changes and they're being more lenient with travelers to Hainan. So for 30 days you can actually stay in Hainan visa-free. The thing that was a bit confusing though was so many websites would tell you that you needed to provide your information to a travel agency so they can submit it and register on your behalf. It's hard to tell which websites are accurate or not because some of this information is outdated. So I ended up reaching out to the embassy as well, and they just provided a URL link to a notice that said, as a US citizen, you can go visa-free for 30 days. And it had no mention of submitting any information to the travel agencies ahead of time. Did a bit more digging, and Reddit was, I think, my best friend because I finally found a post that a lot of people were asking about the same situation, and most of them said that that information is out of date and that you can actually just show up at the airport and be fine. But Chantal, I just realized
Yes?
that we still need to go through immigration in China. So they let us on the plane here in Singapore. We still need to see what happens when we arrive. So hopefully we'll be okay. It's very quiet, but I think we're going the right way.
We've arrived, and let's talk about the process of getting into Hainan. Pretty easy leaving Singapore. When we were deplaning, they said you might be randomly tested for whatever reason. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. So we got off the plane, pretty quiet inside the airport, like just our plane, I think.
Yeah, I think we were the only plane.
Yeah, and of course they said on the airplane that we needed to fill out an arrival card. We went down some escalators and there was a lady, two people. One lady was in full scrubs.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh gosh, this is kind of scary. But I was just talking with Harry, trying to figure out where the information form might be.
And we were the only ones on that escalator.
Yes,
like we were
at
ahead
that
of,
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to, because we didn't know what immigration would be like. And lucky me, she asked me, well, she started speaking to me in Chinese, and I was like, hi. And then she just told me to follow her. And I was like, wait, what's happening? Like, I need some explanation. So I went with her to a back room, and
Sketchy.
everything is in Chinese. And she's like, sit, sit, sit. And I was like, well, I need to know what's going to happen. What are you going to do? So I got worried. And then she said, my passport. And of course, Harry had my passport, and he was left behind.
I was just waiting outside, yeah.
Yeah, so I had to go back out to get my passport. They were scanning it. One lady was scanning it. And then she gave me a vial with pink liquid inside. And then she told me to go back to the back room where the lady in full scrubs was. And I signed a form that was in Chinese with a little bit of English saying I don't have to pay for the test. And then she swabbed my mouth, and that was it.
Oh, it was your mouth?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was your nose.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my mouth.
COVID, right?
It says quarantine. It didn't say COVID. It didn't say like yellow fever, like nothing.
Swabbed for something. I don't know. Maybe they're taking your DNA to do something with it. But there was one other guy who came in right behind us, and he also got picked.
But
So-
we're like young, so maybe that's why we got picked.
Yeah, I don't know. I figured things would be okay. And then you got out, and you were
Yes.
fine.
Yeah, I survived.
And that's when we found like the entry cards, like the arrival cards. They're physical forms. They also had a bunch of these like biometric computers that you can enter stuff on that, but no one was using it, and there wasn't much of a queue. Like, I don't think immigration actually took more than 10 minutes, to be honest. By the way, we made it. We're here. We got through immigration. There's a tick box that says visa free, and we went through, and the guy asked if we were here visa free, just staying in Hainan, no issues. And then he told me in Chinese that you actually don't need to fill out the arrival card. So I was like, oh, okay, so we didn't need to fill it out. How about the driving situation?
To get an e-hailing, there is a sign for anyone who's ordering through the app.
Didi, or I don't know if Didi's the only one. That's the app that we decided to use. I think there's at least one or two more.
I just followed the route where it said e-hailing, but we were the only ones walking through this
it's
very
so weird.
scary, wide hallway. And finally, we started hearing people, and there's actually a waiting room for anyone who ordered Didi.
Definitely download Alipay when you come here. Alipay is going to be your main form of payment. It links to a credit card, so we linked it to our US credit card. Anytime we want to go shop around, if they have the QR and only accept Alipay or don't take like the US credit card, we can easily just pay through Alipay. Now, there's no extra fee to use Alipay, so it just charges and then does the conversion. So if you have a bank card that has no foreign transaction fee, then use it. If it's over 300 yuan, then yes, you get charged like a 3% fee or something like that. And we're using Didi because we actually don't even need a separate app. Alipay has a Didi button on it, and you can actually just hail a ride directly from there. And because it's linked to Alipay, it charges directly to the card. The ride into town to our hotel was about 50 yuan. They got there right away. It's really convenient. Super comfortable ride. I really like the BYD cars, the Build Your Dream cars. I would say probably like between 30 and 40 minutes to get to here.
So we chose to stay at the Westin because we have our
Status. We're Bonvoy Gold, and usually they give you a free upgrade if it's available. So we did get upgraded because I think I chose like the cheapest room category. I don't recall when we booked it seeing a picture of a bathtub. So I think this room definitely is bigger than the one that we originally booked.
But now we're hungry. It's been a few hours since we left Singapore and had laksa.
Thankfully we had that laksa.
So we're gonna go look for food in Hainan. And we, again, had no idea, not a lot of information that we found online before arriving about what apps would work here.
China generally block most US platforms like Facebook, Google, I think, YouTube, of course, because it's part of Google. But to our surprise, when we got here, I think Hainan is like a exempt from it because they are trying to bring more tourism here. So as soon as we got here, we opened up Instagram, she opened up Facebook. It worked. Thought we were gonna unplug from social media. We will still, but we do have access to it, which, yeah, it's nice. All right, just a 10-minute Didi ride from our hotel. Very reasonable. It was 9 or 10 yuan, which is about $1.30 US. This is Qilou Street. It's a happening area. We're hungry. We can see some restaurants, so let's go find something.
Just like ordering Didi through Alipay, we were able to order our lunch. We just had to scan the QR code that's here on the table and it takes us to the menu and we're able to pay directly on the app. The only downside is that it was all in Chinese, so I have my phone to translate using a translator app. And there's some pictures, so just making sure we're not eating anything too spicy. And the food looks delicious. It means drink happiness. And it sounds just like Coca-Cola.
So we're finishing up. Chantal's still crushing it with the vegetables. We ordered a chicken rice set. Chicken that's unique to Hainan. Not Hainanese chicken rice, because that's actually more popular in Singapore. Like, it's coconut fed. What else?
Special raised chicken that's free range and all that good stuff.
It tastes different. So we had chicken rice set. We had a pork bone broth and a huge plate of vegetables because we didn't know how big the vegetables would be, but it was massive. The great thing is it all costs 74 RMB or yuan. I've been saying yuan, Chinese yuan, but you can also say RMB or renminbi, same thing, which is about under 10 US dollars for both of us, and we're barely finishing it.
So we're walking along the street and we're just gonna see what there is to see. Maybe grab something a little sweet, but the weather is pretty hot right now. Like, the weather app has a heat warning for us, so be careful out there. And the streets are pretty walk friendly in this area. You just gotta watch out for the scooters.
There's actually no shortage of sweet stuff. I think we've passed like a whole bunch of juice places, boba, sugarcane. This place right here looks amazing. It's got pictures of mango.
And sweet rice rolls.
We're not hungry, but I could go for something sweet or something drinkable soon. So apparently this sculpture here is a dock worker back in the old days eating spicy soup and rice, which is exactly what we just had. Stumbled upon a market. It looks like it's either opening or closing because it is mid-afternoon. This market is huge. So I think we were in like the seafood section. Now we're in the produce area, but it goes each way and there's like no side streets, so you kind of just have to keep going straight down. All right, Chancel, what's the most exotic or interesting things you've seen so far?
Turtles and frogs.
Yeah, there's some big turtles. Like, I've seen turtles before. They do have hare or rabbit as well. Eels, a lot of eels. But nothing like extremely out of the ordinary.
It's very, very hot out, so we stopped by for a nice iced coffee.
The Chinese name is Xinglong coffee. Or maybe that's the beans that they use, but this place is called Sun River Coffee. I'm not sure, but got an Americano and Chantal got a latte. It's in Chinese, so we did have to translate the menu. Coffee machines here look legit, so I think this will be pretty good. Cheers. Oh yeah. That's good.
This place feels like a ghost town because it's so empty. But it's probably just because it's so hot outside. Maybe at night it'll be a little busier around here.
The coconut chicken, I think, is called wenchang chicken. And every single restaurant we've been to that has it, they have a picture of the chicken, and for whatever reason, it's the exact same position. So I feel like there's some sort of symbolism behind it, but just take a look. Their heads are like looking up at the sun. It's kind of cute but sad because they're food, but yeah, every single place has the same picture. We're in some sort of shopping complex, and we've been shopping around, looking at clothing and stuff like that. But my goodness.
They're aggressive. They have clappers and microphones, and they're giving us water cups, urging us to come in. But I touched one shirt, and she like pulled it out and said, like, showing me, and I'm like, oh, it's okay. I just want to look. But don't touch the clothes, or you'll be buying it.
We're still not hungry or anything, but I could use a drink, and there's a ton of like milk tea shops as well. So I see cocoa, Haiti, there was Mishue, Chagee. Maybe we gotta go with Chagee. What do we got, Chantal? What do we got?
We found a bolo bao.
It was $3.99.
RMB for 56 cents.
Now we're gonna go get Chagee because I see it right across the street. And my goodness, there's so many scooters here. It's basically like Vietnam, but they're all electric. So it is extremely quiet, and it's probably a lot more cooling here, although the weather is much hotter. But I feel like they're doing an awesome job with all these electric vehicles on the road. Except their scooters do ride on the sidewalk, and because they're electric, you can't even hear them coming by. Found another bolo. This one was 5, so it's like 1 yuan more, or 1 RMB more. It's warm.
Let's take a bite.
Okay, we're refreshed and rejuvenated after sitting down for a little bit, drinking our Chagee, and now we found like a river walk or something. So sun's going down, it feels a lot nicer out. We're gonna just walk this way and probably find some dinner. So the Riverwalk gets very busy. A lot of uncles, and I think there's some kind of gambling going on. It looked like a bingo sheet, but it also looks like one of them was teaching like which numbers to pick or something, but it's definitely some sort of gambling.
So for dinner, we ended up going to McDonald's because we like to visit a McDonald's in every country. Now we are waiting for some mishue. It's super cheap, cheaper than in Singapore. And it's really nice because all of these places, there's a QR code that you can scan and it pulls up the menu. Again, it's connected to Alipay. Very, very easy.
So we're back at the hotel. The hotel's right here, actually. And this is the first time we're actually on the back side of the hotel, and it's really pretty. There's a really nice bridge. I don't know where that goes, maybe to the mainland. But it's quite busy, and there's a lot of bars and restaurants on the street. So we're a little tired tonight, but this lets us know that we totally are gonna hang out here either tomorrow or the next night.